folks, thanks for joining me. This is episode 27 of the Brighton Jazz School podcast, and as ever we've got a great show lined up for you. We've got part 2 of the LeDonne interview this week, and I'm also checking out his album Then and Now, which is a fantastic CD, and so that's coming up in Album of the Week. We've got all the usuals. I'm not doing passing notes this week. Basically we've just had a summer school last weekend, and it was absolutely fantastic, really good fun, great bunch of students, and we made some great music, did a concert on the Sunday. So I'm going to give passing notes a miss this week, and then we'll be back next week. We're in the repertoire course, we're talking about rhythm changes, and then the following week we're talking about Blues for Alice. So lots of stuff, lots of information to share with you on those two things. Been an absolutely glorious few days here in Brighton with the weather. It's been sizzling hot, and people are out going to gigs and enjoying the sunshine, and generally in a really good mood, and it's just great to be a part of that. We've got some good gigs coming up. We've got I'm playing a gig at Trading Boundaries on Saturday night with a nice band, so if you're around, come and see us there. And the Brunswick Jam is going well. Please come on Tuesday. The guys at the Brighton Jazz School are playing at the Blue Note on Fridays, as ever. That's a weekly thing. So if you want to go and check them out, please do. The Blue Note on Church Road in Hove. So without further ado, let's crack on. So grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. Album of the Week is sponsored by Personal Financial Designs, financial advisors based in Worthing. Check out the podcast page on our website for a link to get more information. This week we are checking out Then and Now by Mike LeDonne, and he is joined by some exceptional company. We've got Eric Alexander on tenor saxophone, Jim Rotondi on trumpet, Peter Washington on bass, and Joe Farnsworth on drums. Recorded in 1999, and it contains a mixture of great originals by Mike and some really interesting standards. Well, I guess standards, you would call them standards, but written by people like Miles and Herbie Hancock. So we've got The Sorcerer, which is attributed to Miles, but I think really Herbie wrote that. And we have the wonderful ballad Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk. And I think the rest is Mike LeDonne originals. So let's kick off. Let's have a listen to the opening track, Then and Now. Yeah, wasn't that great? It kind of reminds me of just that classic Blue Note sort of sound in the 60s, Freddie Hubbard, that kind of thing. Great writing, great solos, can't go wrong. Absolutely brilliant. I just love this kind of music. Just kind of the swing just gets up inside your bones and it makes you move, and great melodies, and just jazz at its best, jazz in the real art form sense. So let's take a listen to Around Midnight, and this is actually a trio rendition, and you really get to hear Mike really play the piano in its full glory, and you're going to love this one. So Around Midnight by Thelonious Monk. Absolutely stunning work there, and evidence that LeDonne really is the Don of jazz piano. It's totally under-recognized. He's only just now starting to get recognized for his work, but I think fellow musicians, especially in New York, have really known the truth for a long time. He's been a great sideman for so many jazz greats: Benny Goodman, George Coleman, Benny Golson, and so many visiting players coming through New York, Art Farmer. Just the list is endless, and I think you can only get to that depth of playing when you have played with those great people and played in those situations night after night. And he's one of the greats, one of the great jazz pianists, definitely, and one that we don't really hear enough of in the polls and the magazines and the media in general. But I don't want to do him injustice, because he's a great band leader as well as being a sideman. Great accompanist and comper, but a fantastic leader. And this album really exemplifies that. So we're going to have a listen to a piece called Train Song, and I think this is loosely based around the John Coltrane tune Crescent, so very modal, and this'll blow out the cobwebs. Check this one out. This is Train Song. Yeah, wasn't that great? I can listen to this music forever and ever. For me, this is totally where it's at. Absolutely great playing by the guys there. I want to end on a great rendition of the Herbie Hancock tune, "The Sorcerer," and normally it's done in 4, but the guys do it in 6, and which is a nice twist. So check this one out, and thank you again for joining us on Album of the Week. Join us again next week for another great album. That thing about Phineas as well, I mean, I read the most damning review of, I won't name him because he's an English guy, so he might actually, he might hear this, but yeah, saying exactly what you said, cocktail, you know,
right.
He's practiced too much so he has no soul.
Yeah,
it's really ridiculous.
I mean, come on, Phineas Cole, that's a soulful blues piano player, man.
Yeah.
That guy can play some blues right from Memphis. He played with B.B. King.
Yeah.
And I mean, when he plays the blues, it's outrageous.
Yeah, so deep.
But he does have, like Hank Jones says, he has two right hands.
Yeah, yeah, ridiculous.
He said, that guy had two right hands. How did he do that stuff?
Yeah.
You know, and it is true.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you've listened to a lot. I mean, that track you sent me, Please Send Me Someone to Love. That is just wow.
Oh, thanks.
That's
you
great.
Like that?
That's great.
That's like, you know, it's funny that. Well, thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. It's funny that record was done in Italy about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I love the way we did it. Me and John Weber, these guys took us in a hall, like into where you would give a concert, like a concert hall.
Yeah.
And they just said, we're going to make a recording, you guys, just start playing. And we just played tune after tune for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, and then that was it.
Wow.
That was the record date. And John he stood right next to me, and we just played, and there's something about that's just really inspiring and easy to play, and that's just kind of, in that kind of recording situation. I mean, if it was in a real big studio with John in a booth and somebody coming out and saying, okay, you ready? All right, rolling. You know, that wouldn't have sounded like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the guy just left the tape, and I'd do a tune, and then I would say, was that good? And you know how Italians always, like, they'll sort of raise their shoulders up and put their hands up and like, oh, yeah, you know, it's good with me, no problem, you know. Yeah. So I said, okay, let's go to another tune. So we just kept doing tunes like we were playing a set.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that duo recording because it has that sound to it. It just sounds open and just, you know, kind of unpretentious, no stress.
Yeah,
no stress.
Just pure joy. Pure
just playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And unfortunately, the guy is having trouble putting it out.
Really?
Those tracks I send you, I'm trying to buy it from him so I can put it out. Because I love it. And I just want people to hear it. I'm proud of it. And he's not sending it to me. I told him I would buy it from him, and I haven't received it yet. But anyway, yeah. So that thing of playing a tune like that, please send me someone to love, that should be part of that should be like a testing ground, you know, like, can you do that? Then I would say, okay, I put more validity into if somebody counts off rhythm changes super fast, what happens? You fold? Do you go into impressionism? Or can you nail that shit? You know?
Yeah.
There should be certain tests.
Yeah.
Tests.
Well, they've been there since the beginning of the music, haven't they? They've always, you know, Cherokee and all 12 keys.
All the guys that's right. First time I played with George Coleman at Dizzy's, I played organ with him. First night he put me through Cherokees, through all 12 keys on organ.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a brain buster.
It is. And that's exactly what he did to me in the Smoke.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you get keys and you might start sweating, thinking like, "Oh shit, now where's the bridge go?" Yeah, you know, and you got no. But on organ, you got no bass players. So you're the bass. You got nobody to lean on.
Yeah.
It's all you. If it screws up, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And George knows, like, George hears everything. Nothing goes by. You might think, like, oh, he didn't hear that wrong chord. Yes, he did. He hears everything.
Yeah.
He's my buddy, man. I love George Coleman. I talk to him all the time on the phone.
Really? Oh, wow.
He's a wonderful human being and a deep musician.
Yeah, totally.
You know, but just without pretense, he's just completely down home, beautiful guy. It reminds me of the guys that I was around back with like Bags and people like that. You know, I got to be around those people. They were not pretentious guys walking around like geniuses, and they were geniuses.
Yeah.
They didn't have to put on that air. They were just the real thing. So they were just down home, like hang out, talk shit, and then go play. And when you played, it was deep.
Yeah.
You know, you hit the bandstand, it was deep.
Yeah.
When you hit off the bandstand, just hang out, just like we're doing right now. Just talk about stuff. You know, no problem. He's not trying to prove anything or anything like that. And that's what I'm trying to get to myself. You're never trying to prove anything. You're never trying. You know, you just play. Just let it come out. Whatever it is, let it out. You know?
Yeah.
I remember hearing this thing McCoy said, where he said, you know, he's very spiritual, and he said he tries to just let the creator flow through him and just let the music flow. He never thinks about it.
Yeah.
And I see what he means, and I'm trying to get there myself. You know, just and I'm able to get there sometimes, and I love it when it happens. I know when it's happening. Where I'm just completely without anything, any walls or there's no stress, there's nothing in front of me. It's just things are coming out, and that's when things come out that I didn't even know I could play.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, I listened to a recording back and I said, damn, I never played that before. It happened. There it was. You know, there's the thing. It just happened because I wasn't trying to play it. Yeah. It just came out, you know, and this is a big lesson to learn, I think. Yeah. Students, they think so much about notes and notes and notes and, you know, systems of harmony and how could I redo the changes and all these things.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to let all that go and just play.
Just play, absolutely.
Play. That's when that shit's going to come out, you know?
Yeah, and I think the more you play as well, the more opportunity you have to play, the easier that kind of get, you know, because I mean here, it's pretty good here. I mean, you know, I can be doing anything from 4, you know, 3's not a good week, but 4 or 5 gigs a week. Yeah. You know, no money, literally just beer money or whatever.
But you're playing.
But you're playing, yeah, exactly, and you're on the scene, and you know you're hooking up with people that are like-minded and spurring each other on. And
I always think as long as you have your mind engaged in making music, you're doing a really good thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep your mind engaged in playing music, it can go down quick. Yeah. You know, like you can start to lose your shit very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important to keep your mind engaged in making music and your hands as well. But I mean, really, it's a lot of it is in your mind. You know, just keeping it all fresh, keeping it all coming out, keeping it all, you know, active.
It's a hard thing though, because I've definitely gone through periods where I've been so despondent to the scene, and you know, not getting enough gigs, not making enough money, and not wanting to practice, and you know, I don't know. I mean,
you can't let yourself go there. See, that's what I'm talking about. It is very hard, but I always find that when you do go back to, you know, just writing can do a lot. Like just sitting down and writing something.
Yeah.
And then what it spurs on, like the thoughts it spurs on, you might start practicing, you might start finding things, and next thing you know, you're not despondent anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's getting pushed out of the way, and really, you know, what's the use of feeling despondent anyway? Because it is what it is, and it's going to be that, and you know, being despondent is just going to make it worse for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hear you because you know I've been there too, and but that's what I do. I always sit down and I just start writing.
Yeah.
And I'll get to the piano. I'll just start thinking of some kind of chords, and then start thinking of some melody. Pull out the old Sibelius and start typing stuff in, and before I know it, I'm in there. I don't even remember why I was despondent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get enthused about the thing you're writing, and then you're like, you know, that's pretty good. And then maybe I can put that together with this other thing I wrote the other day. And, you know, you're thinking the right shit then.
Yeah.
You know, that other stuff is just it's obstacles or turbulence.
Negativity, isn't it? And like they say, nothing positive comes from negative thinking, and that's definitely true.
I guess that's true. Although, you know, some people go too far with that stuff, and I think that you know, sometimes it's good to call a spade though. You know, you know, like I was saying, like if you say okay, well, I don't like that guy's playing. You know, I'm sorry. That's negative. But if it's the truth, and put it out there. Well, I mean, sometimes negativity takes some balls too. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes some balls because negativity could be honesty. You know, you could be just being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody likes everything. Nobody gets 100%. Nobody can be positive all the damn time. You know. So I mean, I guess the point is just be real.
Yeah.
You know, whatever real is for you, just do that. And that's what, you know, that's on a higher level of being a people. That's what I don't see enough in people, period.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's all much phoniness and bullshit and, you know, like I say, if I speak up, and I'm one who speaks my mind a lot, and I get a lot of trouble for it, and, you know, I've gotten in some hot spots with people and whatever, but I just, you know, I don't mean to be obnoxious, but if something seems wrong to me, I'm going to say so.
Yeah. You've got to be like that.
I mean, you know, I don't know if you got to be like that, but that's just the way I am. I was born like that, and that's just what I am. So, you know, I do it, and it helps me sleep better at night. And some people will say, you're so negative. But, you know, it's not really negative. It's just honest.
Yeah.
It's just honest. If I see, like I'm saying this stuff, maybe, or they might say, oh, man, you're just not open. You know, you're not open enough. And you take that risk by being honest. You know, well, if you don't think I'm open, I guess I'm not. I think I am. I mean, you know, I listen to everything from, you know, James Brown to Stravinsky, you know, and everything in between. So, I mean, you know, I think that I'm pretty open, and I'm not against anybody. But I do try and call a spade a spade. So if I see you know, different trends going on, somebody getting way too much popularity and talk about them for something that's really not that deep, and they're being called deep, I'm going to step forward and say, that's not deep. That's not even hard to do what that guy does. That's easy.
Yeah.
I would love to get up and just play some little, you know, ostinato pattern in 7 for the whole tune. You know? What do you cook on rhythm changes? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's pop off some rhythm changes way up tempo and see what you do.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where it's at, because that's hard.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard to do. And this other shit, it seems a little easy to me. Now, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, so it's not hard for me to gauge these things. And, you know, I've heard the greatest. If I'm not the greatest, at least I've heard the greatest. So I feel like I do know a thing or two at this point. I'm 55 years old. I'm not some new guy on the block, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I hear you. I don't know. It seems like there's, you know, that side of things, but there's also this really healthy side to the music, isn't there? And there are people who are carrying the torch and being completely truthful to the history and trying to carry it on, but not getting stuck in, you know, I mean, just playing rhythm changes. I mean, that's...
No, not just playing rhythm. I'm saying that you should be able to do it, but I'm not saying ever to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the other side of the coin where you got these guys who get stuck like the bebop Nazis.
Yeah.
And they just want to do, they're still playing the bird tunes as if they were written yesterday.
Yeah. And
they hate you if you go outside that. But I mean, I'm not into that at all. You know, I'm not into the trad jazz scene either. You know, like guys think music stopped at 1945.
Yeah.
And there's all this craziness. You know what I mean? It's all craziness. Yeah. Any kind of extreme like that is too much. It's all moderation. You know, you got to say, okay, I love all this stuff, but keep moving forward. You know, Ahmad Jamal, again, he recently had a big box set of music put out by, I think it was Mosaic or something like that.
Yeah.
And Kenny Washington did the liner notes, so he got to talk to Ahmad Jamal.
Wow.
And you know that Ahmad had never heard his classic records?
Really?
He never listened to them.
Wow.
Kenny was playing them for him for the first time in his house, like, you know, live at the Pershing and stuff like that. And because there was all these alternate takes that came out in this box set. And I was listening to it, and he was reminiscing about, wow, that was a great band, about Israel Crosby and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Kenny said, you mean you never listened to this stuff? He said, no, because all he does is look forward. He never looks backward.
Yeah.
Never. Now, that's a mother,
that
right?
Is. Yeah.
I mean, I would be listening just to make sure I didn't sound sad.
Yeah.
You know? And then probably thinking I did. But like, he didn't even listen to it. Now, that is incredible. That really struck me, you know. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And it was a weird scene, and then Wynton came in. Now, that people could criticize him, but actually the phenomenon of Wynton Marsalis changed everything as far as I could see in my experience. I mean, he opened the door for having young guys play more modern music.
Yeah.
And have groups that could go on the road, and the whole Monk Institute thing, where there was this competition and people were winning and getting like record deals, and suddenly they were famous, and they were putting all these young. Then it was a young guy's craze, right? It was like you only could be young. Then the old guys got put in the back.
Yeah.
And that was wrong. It's always extremes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And now that that whole Monk Institute thing has died down, now you don't even hear about it anymore, and it's going on every year. You can hear who wins more or what are they doing and who are they. I don't know. They can't even get a gig at Smalls now. Those guys.
Yeah.
But back then, I remember they gave Jackie Terrison a Steinway piano when he won.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Brand new Steinway, and he got on Blue Note Records or some huge major record label, and it's like, here it is, buddy.
Yeah.
Key to the city.
Yeah,
You got it. Just go ahead, man. Money. Everything, you got it.
Wow.
Now it's like you don't even hear the guy's name. You don't even know if they had a piano competition. It's weird.
Yeah.
These are the trends, they go through. And somehow I've managed to survive all of that. Just keep going my little way, kind of the turtle out here, just moving slowly through.
Well, but I think you've hit the. I think you're being very self-deprecating there. But doing your own thing is exactly what I think we're supposed to do, with this whole wealth of experience and knowledge that we gain along the way. And
it's kind of a luxury. It's kind of a luxury not being in that high spot, because it allows you to do that. Those guys in that spot, man, they got a lot of pressure on them, to produce the thing that makes the records keep selling, that makes the audiences keep wanting to see. So you've got this pressure to make the people go crazy and get house and all that bullshit. Whereas for me, it's just been about a learning curve, like trying to figure it out, get better. And do the gig that I've been presented with and be a pro. And, do whatever gig I'm put on as good as I can, good enough so that I get called back to do it again. That's what Badge used to say was a pro.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they called you back and they want you again, you're a pro.
Yeah.
To do a whole lot of gigs once doesn't mean shit.
Yes,
but,
exactly.
You get called back, then you got something cooking.
Yeah.
And to survive 35 years in the jazz world is, I'm proud of that. That's longevity.
Absolutely.
Longevity is hard to come by in this business. You see guys rise to the top, and then suddenly 5 years later, where are they?
Yeah.
Never even get their name again.
Yeah.
So, and lately I've been getting, it's so funny. I won the Rising Star Downbeat poll this year. 55 years old, but I said, well, better be rising than falling, I guess.
Yeah.
But, still, I won something.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
I've been in different polls. I've never been one of those guys. So here I am, 55, but I am getting recognized.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's forward momentum, and that's all you need.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say that, for years, I've listened to your playing for years and years and years, and I've always been saying, why the hell isn't Mike more well known, and it's good that you're getting, a bit of reputation, not reputation, but you know what I mean, kudos or whatever, recognition.
Yes, I hear you. I'm happy about it myself. And thank you for saying that. I actually had somebody write in. There was the same this month's Downbeat. I was shocked because they sent it to me because I won the poll. So somebody wrote in. They did an article on me last month, which was a surprise. And somebody actually wrote in and said that they didn't think the article was long enough. And, what am I doing just winning the Rising Poll Star? Shit like that.
Great.
They printed it. They printed the letter.
Fantastic.
And I said, wow, you know what? Now that makes me feel good to the bottom of my feet, man. That somebody thought enough to write in and say all that stuff. Yeah. That really keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one last thing. Is it possible for you to give us like a tip that you think is really important to be a professional jazz musician, a jazz player? It doesn't have to be theoretical or anything like that, but it can be if you want it. But, just something that you think is really good advice to young up-and-coming players.
Yeah, listen. Just listen. Listen to music. Listen to the other guys in the band. Listen to the leader. Just listen and don't think too much.
Yeah.
Try and get out of the way of trying to second guess things and being slick. That was the biggest lesson for me when I learned that. That if you just stop all the clutter in your head and try and listen, the music just kind of plays itself.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Absolutely.
That's my tip.
That's great.
Okay, man. So take it easy, and thanks for talking. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Cheers,
Okay.
Mike.
Bye.
Take care. Well, it is coming towards that time that I have to start to wrap things up and say my thank yous and say my goodbyes. But thank you very much for joining us and listening to the podcasts, and I really do appreciate your feedback. So get in contact. The email is brightonjaskell@gmail.com, and you can also visit brightonjaskell.com/podcast to sign up for the newsletter and stay in contact with what we're doing, who's coming up on the show, and other cool things. We have some wonderful guests coming up, one in particular who I think you're going to really be wowed at, so stay tuned, more details as that emerges. Thank you for tuning in, and please pass this along as much as you can. Please share it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you can to spread the word about the Brighton Jazz School podcast. We really do see it as snippets of history with these great players and the current players of our time, documenting their thoughts and musical experiences as they're happening. It's so important. Please feel free to donate. We've got a great shiny PayPal button there on the website. I haven't plugged that for quite some time, so I'm going to do it today. Running a podcast is quite expensive. Any donation is very gratefully received, and we do have some opportunities for companies to come and sponsor the podcast, where we offer some advertising space in return for some help with some funds to keep this thing going. It is a pleasure to be doing it, and I do love it, and it will always be free. But yeah, it does cost money, so I do need all the help I can get. But thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much to Mike for giving up his time for doing the interview. You really are a fantastic pianist, and I really am glad that you're starting now to get the recognition that you rightly deserve. Folks, please go out and buy his albums, please. Thank you to Mike Guest for putting the podcast together. As ever, you're the rock of Brighton Jazz School, and I really appreciate all your help and your input. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. So I'm going to leave you with a full track from Then Now, and I'm going to leave you with a great composition called Insight. And this is very reminiscent of 7 Steps to Heaven, but you're going to love this, I know you are. Please buy this album, Then and Now by Mike LeDonne. And for now, this is your host, Wayne McConnell, signing off.